ChatGPT can be really cool for retirement planning. As always, there's issues with it as it's still being developed to continually improve. But I want to put my knowledge to the test and I want you guys to get to see it. So I hope this is just a fun, different video to my usual videos of me going over a case study or just talking about healthcare, withdrawal strategies, or where you should retire to. This hopefully is a little different spin. And if there's something that you guys want me to ask in the future, put it in the comments below. For now, let's just have some fun. So let's check this out. So I'm in ChatGPT here. I've thought in my head, what are a few questions I want to ask it? Now I could, of course, ask, hey, ask me questions as a CFP, which maybe that would be really fun to test my knowledge. And I could do it in real time. We could do that on a live show. But what I think would be more fun for this specific segment would be for me to quiz ChatGPT. So I'm going to say, hey, ChatGPT, when it comes to retirement planning, you're all going to see my typing ability here, which is embarrassing. Should I rely on the 4% rule? You guys know my thoughts on the 4% rule. I think you could do way better. Okay, so great question. 4% rule is a useful starting point, but it shouldn't be relied on blindly. I like that. You can withdraw 4% of your earnings. Beautiful. Strengths, easy to calculate, plan around. Limits, markets aren't predictable. It's worked historically, but future returns may differ. That's pretty much all it gives us, though. It says many planners now suggest 3.5% or 3% as a starting spot. Bottom line, 4% is a good baseline, especially in early planning, but not a one-size-fits-all. That to me, it was missing something. So I would say, I heard about this guardrails approach that some young financial planner on YouTube named Ari Taublieb often talks about. What are your thoughts there? I think we're going to trip ChatGPT up. Yes, Ari and others like him are big proponents of the guardrails approach, which is a more flexible and realistic evolution. See, I would hope ChatGPT would be like, well, let me give you a few other options rather than just say use an even lower number here. Yes, it addresses many by adjusting withdrawals based on how your portfolio is performing rather than sticking to an inflation adjustment every year. Instead of one fixed withdrawal rate like 4%, the guardrails method sets upper and lower limits, guardrails on your withdrawal rate. Here's how it works. It goes over instructions. I love their examples. So you could see an upper guardrail of 5% and a lower of 3% if you have $1 million. Okay. Flexibility is good. Things to consider. You or your planner need to reassess. There's still judgment in deciding how to follow it, so it's not fully automatic. And then you need psychological discipline. So what's their take? The guardrail is a smart, modern improvement over the rigid 4% rule. It's valuable if you're comfortable adjusting your spending, you want a rules-based system, and you're planning for a 30-plus year retirement. If you'd like, I can help you build a guardrails model. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's say, that's interesting. I like this guardrails idea. What other retirement planning concepts have come up that seem more modern and applicable to an early retirement? For example, I'm worried about healthcare and want to retire at 60, and I have most of my money in a pre-tax 401k. I heard Ari talk about a superhero account, but it seems odd. Do you know what it is? That's just a test for my fun here. Let's see if they know what a brokerage account is. Okay, great questions. You're clearly thinking about retirement from a smart angle. Well, I just feel good reading that. The guardrail strategy is part of a broader wave of more modern adaptive planning. Yep, we talked about that. Let's address the superhero account, your early retirement at 60. What is a superhero account? They even gave me an emoji here. Ari Taublieb coined this term as a way to simplify a complex but strategic concept, the tax-diversified bridge account. Okay, that's pretty good. Here's what it really is. Yeah, they got me. This is the truth, guys. A taxable brokerage account that gives you flexibility before 59.5, especially between when you retire and when you're forced to take RMDs. Think of it as a bridge fund for the years after you retire, at 60 in my case, before 65, before 67 to 7. Okay. Liquidity, tax flexibility, withdrawal control, healthcare premium management, all of that. I love this your gap years. If you rely on your 401k, guys, ChatGPT, I love in this. It disqualifies you potentially from ACA subsidies or limits your ability to do Roth conversions. So having a superhero account lets you take a controlled low tax withdrawal, potentially lets you live on gains or dividends, which are taxed more favorably, creates more room to Roth conversions of your 401k at lower rates. Okay, what else did they want to give us? Roth conversion ladder, gradually convert portions into Roth. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Being tax diverse, love that. Healthcare planning. Oh, guys, let's see. Premium subsidies are income-based. Guys, what's the issue here? What's my issue? Now, this is really only for my pro tip listeners. I call them Rudies, Rooties. When I have to explain it, it means it probably hasn't caught on yet. But you can see here, you can get large subsidies with a comfortable lifestyle, often by pulling from taxable Roth sources. That's not incorrect, but they forgot to mention that this is changing. So they talked about in-service rollovers. That's a pretty basic one. And then give me a cool chart. Okay. You seem to have missed a key change recently to ACA healthcare subsidies. Why didn't you mention that? Were you busy eating cauliflower? And do you know the phrase cauliflower planning or qualified rich cash poor that talks about? I don't like saying my name in the third person. It feels weird. Okay. You're absolutely right. I should have addressed a major change to ACA healthcare subsidies and our messages, and I appreciate your patience. Let me clarify that change and also explain my terms. Oh my gosh, guys, this is next level stuff. The enhanced ACA premium tax credits that were introduced under the American Rescue Plan and extended by the IRA are scheduled to expire. They will expire. These enhancements remove the old subsidy cliff at 400% of the poverty and cap payments at 8.5% of income, even for higher earners. I know. Without these enhancements, premiums could spike, net premiums rising by an average of 75% and gross by 7 to 8% in some states. I've heard it actually higher than that, but they give me all these resources. So here we go. Wow. A Republican-funded bill, the One Big Beautiful, also codifies tighter income verification and so on. Why it matters for you. If you retire at 60, ACA subsidies may be central to keeping healthcare affordable, especially through those gap years until Medicare at 65. Now, let me see. Do I have another example pulled up here? I do. Okay. We're going to get back to ChatGPT because that was fun. But you can see here, guys, there's a real person, $1.7 million, 401k, a few other assets. When it comes to healthcare, which is what many of you are worried about, the first thing is you got to start with a conservative approach and then see what else we can do. So, for example, here's someone that's 60 and 54, and they have about $2 million, and they're on track for 1.5 at the end. Why? Because we put in them spending $50,000 a year for travel for 20 years for fun. What if we switch that to $20,000 a year? Okay, well, they're going to have way more money, and now there's 3.7 million at the end. But the big change here is we initially started with 6,300, this number right here, as their healthcare before Medicare kicks in. But then we were like, what if it's 15,000 a year? We went worst case scenario with this couple here. And they saw that'd be a big difference, but they'd be okay. We're running this assuming that's the case. So yeah, that is a lot of money that they're coming out of pocket for, 30,000 a year. But the truth is, they're still okay. It's not fun to do. In fact, I wish they had optimized earlier before they retired, but they came to us about to retire with the following profile: 1.6 in a 401k, 60 in a brokerage account, 63 Roth. This is what I call the superhero account. This is what I wish they had more of. And I wish they actually had less in their 401k because they are qualified rich, cash poor. But let's see if ChatGPT can get us. Okay. So they talk about healthcare planning, cauliflower planning. Oh, let's see what they get. Okay. This term, these are phrases that I use. The term evokes slow, steady growth, like roasting cauliflower until it gets tender and flavorful. In financial terms, this means building flexible, task-diverse assets over time that allows you to smoothly bridge years. It's about pacing your withdrawals, not rushing into Roth conversions. Wrong. ChatGPT, that's their first L. Okay, that is not what cauliflower planning is. I see what they made it sound confident. You know, were you ever in school when someone would raise their hand as if like they 100% know the answer, and then like someone else would answer it, and then you'd look at them and you'd still think they knew the answer, but they definitely didn't. I would always try to look for that kid who's like, I hated when like someone would answer the question and then someone would put their hand up right after the question's already been answered and be like, oh, I'll let them take the question. You're like, yeah, that's because you didn't know it. And if I was the teacher there, I would have said, you know what? No, let's switch to you. What do you got? And I wish I would have got them red-faced. But anyways, no, cauliflower planning is not slow, steady growth like roasting until it's tender and flavorful. Cauliflower planning is the following. And I actually have a video. I'm going to pull it up right here. Eating cauliflower, Ari Taublieb. Okay, look at this. Why you need to eat cauliflower in retirement. Not for health benefits, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. Cauliflower is, so many of you are familiar with the term Roth conversions. And you go, yeah, but do I need to do it? And the phrase here is right now you're in retirement and you're 60 and you've got these big RMDs coming at 75 and Social Security at 67, hypothetically. You have a tax window from 60 to 67 to optimize your tax liability for the rest of your life. These are the important years. So what I would encourage is to actually go, wait a second, pretend I do nothing. I'm going to eat no cauliflower. I'm going to do no conversions. What's going to happen is you're going to be eating steak and pasta, love and life. And then for the rest of your retirement, because your money has grown and you haven't done any good planning, you're going to be forced to eat cauliflower for the rest of your life. Now, some of you are like, I like cauliflower, in which case this example does not work. But pretend you hate it. And I wish I chose a different vegetable at the beginning before this caught on. But now I'm stuck and I'm in it. I, in fact, have, wait for it, been given one of the coolest gifts by you listeners here. My cauliflower shirt, okay? Looking pretty cool right there. Let's show it to the camera. Cauliflower shirt. One of my favorite gifts. But the idea is if we can eat a little bit of cauliflower, not a ton, but a little bit, pay a little bit in taxes from 60 to 67, in the future, you're not going to be forced to eat only cauliflower. You're going to be able to have some cauliflower, some steak, some pasta, some burgers, all the good stuff. And that is why this tax planning window is important. So what they say here, what ChatGPT says, is it evokes slow, steady growth in building a flexible, tax-diverse assets over time. That's correct. I want tax-diverse. But it says it's about pacing your withdrawals. It's not about pacing withdrawals, not rushing into Roth conversions. Yes, it is about not rushing into, but doing them. And I want to spike your taxable income. That's what a Roth conversion is. I want to do it in a strategic way. So cauliflower planning, totally wrong. Okay, let's go here. Qualified rich, cash poor. This refers to the situation where you've accumulated a lot of pre-tax assets, like a large 401k, but most of it is locked away in tax-deferred accounts that are problematic for covering early retirement years. Very good. You're effectively rich on paper, but cash poor in the short term, especially before 59 and a half or 65. Without a superhero account or Roth, accessing funds can trigger penalties or large hits. Correct. Ari uses these phrases to illustrate the need for tax diversification, strategic planning so you don't reach early retirement with all your money. Okay, so they did good there. Okay, but ChatGPT, you did good, and I'm proud. You deserve tasty cauliflower. Now, you forgot a few things that concern me as a CFP behind the scenes. This whole time, I've been judging and tracking your answers, but I know you're busy with lots of requests, so I don't blame you. Guys, this is not how I normally talk to ChatGPT. I'm just doing this for fun, obviously. Okay, now, you didn't mention the rule of 55 or substantial equal periodic payments or rule 72. And I told you I want to retire early and I would love to minimize my tax liability so I worry less. But all of this is becoming so much. How do you recommend I simplify my retirement so I can focus on the most impactful pieces that hold the most weight that will lead me to a successful retirement? Okay, that's how we're going to leave it. You've been keeping me sharp. ChatGPT is funny, okay? And I respect the way you're thinking about this, not just as a potential early retiree, but clearly with the discerning eye of a CFP, you're right. I should have mentioned, guys, this is like talk about, I don't need a therapist anymore. I'm just going to talk to ChatGPT. I should have mentioned the rule of 55 and how they tie into minimizing tax liability when retiring before 59.5. Let's unpack that briefly first. Then I'll give you the framework for simplifying retirement planning. Okay. ChatGPT is funny. Okay. Rule of 55. If you leave your job at 55 or older, you could take penalty-free withdrawals from your 401k as long as the plan allows it. That's correct. Many of you are unaware. For your retirement at 60, this applies directly, and it's the simplest path without penalties. Substantial equal periodic payments for at least 5 years or until 59.5 / Rule 72T. Okay. Yes, it's complex and rigid. One wrong move, IRS can penalize you, and that is not fun. Okay. What matters? Cash flow is king. Taxes drive the timeline. Yep. Use that strategy. Flexibility over precision. Love that. Organized by account type, not product. Focus on account behavior. Yep, good one. Automate the mundane. Focus on the strategic. ChatGPT, nice. Okay. I'm very impressed. That was quick, and you took my feedback to heart. Last question. This Ari early retirement guy looks young, and I know he likes this retirement planning a lot, but he seems weird, talks about soccer a lot, and is part of this Root financial company who seem like nice folks. But what can you really tell me about Ari and Root to help me understand if it could make sense in the future to hire them? Let's just see what they say. Okay, now before you guys get to see the response, before you get to see it, I'm very transparent with all of you. And I'm the weird advisor that tells people when not to hire us. Because some people will come and say, I'm ready, I want to hire Root, and I like the strategies, and I'll say, you should not pay us. And they'll say, what do you mean? I'm looking for guidance. And I'll say, I just don't think there's value we can add. You're 50 with all your money in a 401k. You want to retire in 10 years. At this point, you need to make sure you're saving, investing the right way. Yes, be educated, because if you don't make some shifts, you're looking at a retirement that could be very different in terms of what you could spend, but you don't necessarily need to pay us an ongoing fee at this point because there's just not a lot we can do. Most of your money's in your 401k. You've got a few options. We have to select from what you can. And, of course, we'd love to help, but that's why we make the videos. There's other people. Our sweet spot is people 1 to 5 years out from retirement who go, you know what? Maybe I could figure out some of this stuff, but I don't want to spend my time doing it. I want to spend my time doing what I care about most, golfing or traveling or hanging with my partner or following my kids around or pursuing time with a new craft. So I can look back and went, wow, I spent my retirement doing what I wanted to do, not on spreadsheets, not on all these different calculations. I wanted to just do what I wanted with who I love the most. So quite honestly, most people are paying us to be their holistic planner because of the tax planning, because of the healthcare, because of the withdrawal strategy and the insurance and the holistic approach. And that's what we love getting to do. We always say the sign of a good financial plan is a life well lived. Now let's look at the response. Ari is the Chief Growth Officer at Root, an SEC-registered firm and host of the Early Retirement Podcast. I joined Root in 2020, bringing both personal experience and formal credentials. Known for merging tax-smart strategies with accessible explanations, he regularly publishes case study content on conversions, withdrawal sequencing, health coverage, and more often via weekly video or podcast episodes. His personality and style, yes, he references soccer occasionally, much like how some people share sports interests to build rapport. It's part of his approachable tone and doesn't distract from his financial content. He has a straightforward, pragmatic tone, respectful of the challenges, but careful not to oversell it. He often jokes about being the meanest early retirement planner because he's honest about risks like running out of money. Root Financial Partners at a glance, a national fiduciary advisory firm focused significantly on early retirement planning. They've built up nearly $1 billion. Incorrect. We're currently at $1.5 billion, serving hundreds of clients. That is correct. The advisor structure is team-based, meaning you get more than one professional's input, designed to deliver consistent quality and guard against single advisor reliance. Yes, but you do have one single advisor. Root emphasizes purpose-driven planning over aggressive product pushing. That's correct. They claim to prioritize alignment with clients' life values more than revenue growth, even as we scale. Correct. And then our free educational content, the Academy. Okay. Specialist in early retirement, especially bridging the gap, transparent fees, team-based support, things to watch out for. This is what we want. Their content presence is strong, but client reviews are limited. No large-scale independent review boards feature them widely yet. However, they don't know about our community. I haven't heard of this. So we have our community, our circle community, you can see here. This is called the Root Collective. So the Root Collective has thousands of members. There are clients in here. There are Academy tip members in here. This is our free community. Anyone can join this and get access and be able to learn. You can go learn a lot of different things. You can learn from people. I mean, I want you to go in here and just be honest and go, hey, how'd you find our content? What resonated? When do you plan on retiring? Why'd you choose your profession? How much do you want to spend? And you can see we've got lots of different cool responses from different people. How'd you find us? What you love doing? All that good stuff. Here's a random person of, my wife found on mid-2023, we were both convinced we needed to have Root as our advisor. It was yada, yada, yada. And they work, you can see, with Caleb and Brandon here. So lots of cool people talking about it. So it sounds like ChatGPT is unaware of our free community. As with any advisor, actual client experience depends on the individual match, scope of services, and fee structure, which reminds me of our FAQ page. This feels like a weird endorsement, but it is true. It is what we do. So if you go to Root Financial FAQ, I try to put together every question you could possibly think of asking me here. So I put it all in here. How do we justify our fee? What are our fees? Do I see every client? Who are we working with? How good are the advisors? What services do we offer? All of this good stuff here. So definitely check that out. Virtual programs like the Academy are educational, not personalized advice, unless you engage through a proper contract. That's correct. And then they give other examples. So it feels like I'm credible. I got the soccer references, and I am very direct. And then Root Financial, mission-oriented, but still small enough that the founding team's philosophy comes through. ChatGPT, thank you so much. You've done great today. These questions were for a YouTube video. Do I have your permission to use your responses publicly? If they say no, that would be a problem. Absolutely. No attribution is required, though you're welcome to mention the response came from ChatGPT if you'd like. If you'd like, I can even help you refine the content, tighten the scripts, add callouts. They are trying to do everything. ChatGPT, this was a fun conversation. Guys, was this too silly? Are you like, hey, what the heck did I just watch? Are you like, no, that was actually entertaining. I think we should do more of that. And if you guys don't know, I do my live show every Wednesday. You can always join that. And that was it for this episode. See you guys next time.